Hi, Melinda. It's nice to see you again. How are you feeling today?
I'm doing okay.
Okay, that's good to hear. Um, so I would like to jump into what you may have on your mind for today. But before we do that, I will have to explain to you some of the general limits of confidentiality and kind of how that works. So to just briefly explain it, basically anything that is said during our time will only stay in this room. Nothing that you say will ever be necessarily used against you. Nothing you say will ever be released. And so that being said, however, there are some situations where information might need to be released. And in that case, it would always be asked to you first, if that is okay with you, before any of the records or any of the words said in this room are released out into the public. However, the only reason for that would be any suspect of abuse or any suspect of self harm and potentially some legal situations where information may be required to give to a lawyer or somebody like that. But other than that, everything that is said here will just stay between us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, I think that we can proceed forward. So, what has brought you in today? What's on your mind?
I think I've just been feeling pretty anxious about life and trying to manage everything and
Okay, so it sounds like you have a lot on your plate and a lot going on at the moment. Have you had any symptoms that maybe go along with that? Like, have you noticed anything in common when you start to feel anxious?
I think I'm just really stressed and I I'm just not sure. I am going to college. I just started college for the first time, and I'm working and trying to live on my own, and um, I'm just really anxious and not sure being away from my parents how to handle everything. And I'm having a lot of anxiety and getting really anxious trying to manage being out on my own.
Okay. And have you noticed anything like physically that changes with you when you start to feel anxious? Like sometimes some people they'll start like to shake more, or sometimes they'll start to slip up on their work duties or some things like that. Would any of that necessarily apply to you?
Yeah, I think like it's hard to focus and sometimes I think it's hard to breathe. Like I get really out of breath sometimes. And it's really hard to focus on things just because I'm really stressed.
Okay. And when would you say that this general feeling of anxiety, I guess, sort of started? Like when did you feel that you began to feel anxious?
I don't know. My parents helped me move into my place and then I started school. It's only been a couple months, so maybe when we moved in and then it just started getting worse and um now it's all the time.
And and how often would you say that you start to feel these sort of anxious feelings?
Every day.
Every day? Okay. And when you start to feel these sort of these feelings, how often does that usually last? Like, is it for, maybe a couple minutes, hours, maybe even like days?
Um, I'm not really sure. It just comes and goes, but it's every day.
Okay. And for those previously mentioned things like the shaking or sometimes slipping up on responsibilities and things like that, how how intense would you say that feels? Like, would you say that it like barely affects you, or is it like, the worst pain that you've ever felt?
Um, I don't know if it's painful, but it's just really stressful and it's making it hard and making me question if I feel like I can do this, if I can um be away from my parents and be in college and out on my own and I just don't know how to do this and be an adult.
Okay. Um, so I guess to me, it sounds like you've started a lot of new things, and it seems like you're getting really stressed because of all of these new things hitting you all at once, like the independence of having to live on your own and having to be away from your parents, having to go to school and work a job, and all of that is just kind of balling up into one big anxiety causing thing. Would that be correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And how have you been going about the the anxiety and those times where it just feels like you can't like do anything about it? Like what have you tried so far to help with that?
I haven't tried really much of anything. I don't know. It just passes and then I go do what the next thing is. And then now that's why I'm here trying to see what I can do until to decide, what sorts of things I could do.
And as one final question, what do you think that you could do for the potential future to go about fixing that?
I don't I don't know, maybe quit college or quit my job.
Okay, maybe be jump in a little bit further ahead, but I think we can go from there. I think that this is a good place to stop, and I think we can pick up from where we left off for next time. But it has been good to talk to you, and I will see you next time.
Okay, thank you.